Dear parents, we are making our second of our series of the college readiness workshops. We have started with the first session just a couple days ago with the academics portion of the college readiness. As you know, when we say college readiness, it is practically getting students to be ready starting from 7th grade all the way up to the 11th grade. It also includes the senior year, but most of the readiness pretty much starts in the 7th grade, and then the students need to be ready for most of the parts by the end of their 11th grade. Senior year is a little bit different. It's the time for students to make the applications. Now, Tuesday, which was our first session, we talk about the academics portion, and today we're going to talk about the extracurricular activities. These two sessions, we were aiming mostly for everyone, including 7th graders, all the way up to the 11th graders. Next week, we're going to have 2 more sessions, and then these 2 sessions are also open to everybody. But next week, we are going to talk the first day, we are going to talk about the whole application process. So how to make the application, when to make the application, what are the important parts, what is the whole process, what's common application, essay, and the letters of recommendations. The last session, which is going to be the 4th session in our series, we are going to be talking about the financial aid portion. So we will talk about the financial aid process, how to apply for financial aid, what are the financial aid resources, and then what kind of money comes from all different resources. We will be talking about them next week as the 4th session. So let's start today's session. We are going to be talking about the extracurricular activities. Now, even though all these topics, we really talk about them for so many hours when the schools are open. So every part of this presentation, we talk about, let's say, the clubs and some extracurricular activities. We talk about it for the entire hour. And another time we talk about what is the community service, and then another time we talk about sports, athletics, and so on and so forth. What we try to do is, during this COVID-19 timeframe, we try to squeeze them all together into 4 sessions. Technically, these 4 sessions are pretty much reflecting at least a 10-hour time frame, and it could be even more. So that's why we are going to be going a little bit faster, because we want to talk about so many different topics within 1 hour. So please make your research. And then if you would like to learn about different parts, or if you want to learn the details about different extracurricular activity types, please don't hesitate to reach us, or make your own research from College Board and so many other websites that are particularly being recommended by our guidance department. Today again, this is Mr. Az. I'm the college guidance at Syracuse Academy of Science Charter School, and Mr. Kovar is also our co-host, is college guidance at Utica Academy of Science Charter School.
Hello everyone, welcome to our second series. Today, as he said, Mr. Az said, we are talking about the extracurricular activities, and we are excited about the second one.
Yes, thank you, sir. So let me start. I'm going to go back to the previous slide. I've copied this from the Common App website. Common Application is the website that students are making their applications. So it's practically one of the most trusted places that right now you could find, right? So the Common App says for the extracurricular activities, it's everything. It's any activities that includes arts, athletics, clubs, employment. A lot of times you don't think about it, right? Personal commitments and other pursuits. So this includes things like taking care of the siblings or cousins, or going outside and working to make money, because it is still your valuable time. And then this is the time that you're showing some responsibility, showing that you're a responsible person, showing that you could do, something that is valuable to yourself, to your family, and to the society. Okay, let's continue.
I just want to add something to this one. This arts is different than the arts that you're taking actually at the school. It may be, both of them at the same time together, but that, the curriculum art is going to be in your transcript already. But if you are participating in any other event, besides the school, that's the part, extra, that goes into the extracurricular activities arts.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes, people get confused about that. Oh, I'm taking art class. Is it the extracurricular? No, it is not the extracurricular. It's in your curriculum. But if you are going outside, and doing any other art activities, that's the extracurricular activity.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, sir. Let's continue. While our students are doing extracurricular activities, what are we trying to do? What is the purpose of extracurricular activities other than showing that the students could do anything other than academics, right? So we are trying to prove that students have certain skills and then performing these skills to the colleges. So the colleges will be saying, yes, if the students are doing all these extracurricular activities, they have certain skills that they have, and then they're performing those skills. So let's talk about them. One of them is social skills. Obviously, the students are being socialized, and then interpersonal skills, which is kind of connected, right? They are communicating with other people. They are working as a team, and then as a team player that they are communicating and then playing sports with others, maybe. They are sometimes proving that they have the leadership skills, especially if the position that they are trying to perform or performing is requiring some leadership skills. Let's say National Honor Society, right? Or if you are playing sports and then your position is, leading your teammates,
Captain.
that is another leadership skill.
Yep.
Sportsmanship, right? There's a bunch of skills in here. It's not just one skill that you are showing a number of skills over there that you can even imagine. You can imagine, right? And then the other one is the artistic skills and creative skills. Like if you are working with arts and musics, personality. Like you're showing your personality. Let's say you're doing community service, right? You're showing that you're a helpful person. You're advocate to the others. You are showing a number of things by doing all these different things. And a lot of times, as I indicated in the previous slide, right, accountability comes with the work. A lot of people think, oh, I'm working. Does it count for extracurricular? Yes, it does. Because just, from a sense of humor, you didn't get fired, right? It means that you are taking responsibility and then you are carrying those responsibilities. So it is extracurricular. Or you are taking care of your, siblings, your nephews, or whoever. So all of them are showing that you have certain skills that you are performing. Yep, Mr. Kowar, anything you would like to add here?
Just one more thing for the work. Actually, it's also giving you a good skill, which is the time management. Like if you are on time all the time to go to work, and then you work, during the day, and then get out, and then do your school work, and then if there is anything for the home, if you have any chores to do at home. So those are that's also working is also giving you the good time management skill too. So it's very recommended actually.
Yep. By the way, on the chat part of the Zoom, I see that we have new students and new parents came in. So there's a chat portion of our Zoom meeting. You can ask any questions. You can type them, and then we'll try to answer them during the meeting, or we may have to wait for the end of the meeting so that we're going to be able to answer them over there. Okay. Yes. Yep. We are getting some messages here. Yes. Hi everyone. Thank you for coming, and then thank you for writing. So since we are in the recording right now, I don't always want to read the names, but I welcome everybody, and I appreciate everyone to come to our meeting. Let's continue. But please ask the questions. We're going to read the questions, and we're going to try to answer them. So one part which is critical is between the academics and the extracurricular activities is to balance them. When you're applying to colleges, since you are applying as a student, right, or your kids are applying as a student to the colleges, the very first thing the colleges are checking if the student is going to be successful at the college. It's obviously, right, they want the students to be strong academically so that they can, accept the student, and then they're going to make sure that, students will be successful. So that's the first thing that they check. But they also want students to be having a number of extracurricular activities, and then we're going to talk some of them in the upcoming slides. It's like both of them are important, but it's also important to balance them. You don't want to do one of them too much, right? If you play sports too many hours every day, and now you also do community service, you also, I don't know, join 2-3 different clubs, and then at the end of the day, you don't have time for doing the homework. That's not something recommended. We would really like you to, the students to balance it out, and then keep the academics as the first, all right? That's the first thing. And then after you finish, or your kids finish their work, their homework, their projects, whatever they need to do for the school, then they could do whatever they want to do in terms of extracurricular activities. Yeah, the first couple slides, the next couple slides, we will be talking about the big picture before diving into different types of extracurriculars. Now, that's why we are talking about how to plan, how to balance, and how to do certain parts of the extracurriculars before even getting into what are those extracurricular activities, right? Planning is important. Now, would you like to tell anything, Mr. Kumar, here?
At the planning? Yes, sure. As I mentioned before, time management is the most important skill that we need to have right now, especially nowadays, since everybody is at home. Most of the people they work from home, so it is really hard to keep up with the home and the work at the same time at the same place. So that's why we should be doing everything in a plan. Even the extracurricular activities, like we shouldn't be jumping around. I'm gonna do 5 different clubs, 2 different sports, another art and music. So yes, that's great, that's perfect. But instead of doing like little piece from each of them, I think you should be focusing on one, and then finishing up it with the good. Maybe a certificate, maybe a good degree, if it is a karate or something like that with a belt, that would be much more meaningful down the road. So yes. How are you going to do this? First of all, you need to know yourself. Okay, so what are your interests? What would you like to do after school? What would you like to do during the weekends? And the second thing, you need to put everything in a plan. So because you have also kind of home life and responsibilities at home maybe, and you should be, and first of all, do not forget you are still a student. So as Mr. Oz said, your academics comes first, and then the extracurricular activities. And if you can kind of involve in the activities that is related with your future major, future profession, that would be awesome. Because let's say we're going to talk about it down the road, but the job shadowings and internships, those are more meaningful activities for you down the road if they are related with your profession. I think we can move on. If you want a couple more.
As you said, like if the student has any idea about what they want to do in the future, and then they can also connect and relate their activities to it, that will be wonderful. Let's say the students say, okay, I would like to be an engineer. All right. What are available for you in the field? As you said, like job shadowing and other things. And then what about the school clubs, right? Like maybe just joining the robotics club, or I don't even remember right now, other clubs.
Math counts.
Yes, math counts, like things like that. Or let's say the students would like to be in the medical field. Then you can find activities that are related to it. Like there's a couple of things going on with different hospitals that we're working together. They have their workshops. We send our students to those workshops, and then the workshops are ending up with summer internships. Like the purposes, or our point is that if you plan everything in advance and say, okay, who am I? What are my skills? What do I enjoy the most, and what I would like to do after graduation? If you can think about yourself and then you plan all these activities in advance, it will be wonderful to do to the point events, because when you're applying to college, you're going to report them, and everything should be helping each other to show that you were a good student and you were really aiming to what you want to do in the future. Of course, there's going to be some parts for fun, right? And everything doesn't have to be career related, but at least some of them could be something that you can consider.
We can think about it as a puzzle pieces, and down the road everything comes together, and then creating a big picture and with a great great application for you.
Great, yes, a great, wonderful example. Thank you very much. So the records are important, but it's not always necessary. Like so many different clubs, or even sometimes your involvement in different places, they don't give any certificates or anything. If they give it, please keep them. That's the best way to prove. But most of the time they trust the students because they know that the student's not going to lie, because it's going to eventually come to the surface, right? Why do you lie about I've done this many activities? Because you're expected to do similar things when you go to college. So they trust you, they trust the student. So you don't really need any certificates. If their certificates are being offered, please keep them safe, but keep the records. Even if it is just a piece of paper and a pen, just keep them. Now the smartphones are very powerful right now. You write something, it never gets lost. I mean, it's very simple. Like I'm using iPhone. I like the Notes app, right? It's very simple. You could put so many things, and so many years later, you go back and find what you wrote before. So you can just tag something, right? Extracurricular, and write what you did this week. Extracurricular, like later on, you can search and now put them everything together. So it's crucial because so many years later, you forget. A lot of times, what I do is I sit down with the senior and say, "What activities did you involve?" Nothing, that face and the tone, nothing, but then, did you do any sports? Did you work? Did you attend these clubs, any clubs at all? Oh yeah, I did this, I did that too. And then we end up which 10 is the best 10, because you can only report the best 10 in your common application, right? So we end up like from nothing to so many activities, but now we push the students to keep remembering things, and then if they don't remember anything, maybe they are missing some portions that are important, right? So that's why you want to keep the records. And then one of the best ways to keep records is to keep an updated resume. All right, it may be hard, but if you update resume every other month or once a year, if you have a resume, this is something that could be valuable, because you keep putting everything into your resume, and now you're building a resume. It doesn't even have to have a wonderful format. We are not talking about a resume that needs to be submitted to any job interview or anything. Just start putting things, throwing things inside. You can work on the format later. When you apply to college or a job, you can definitely play with the format to make it looks better. But what makes a good resume is not the format, it's what is included, right? So that's why you want to put everything into your resume. Right, now we're going to talk about different activities now. Like, let's dive into different categories, different examples. All right, so we'll just, so all these things, you're going to see that there's so many different items, and now our students don't have to do every single one of them. It's not possible, and it's not expected. Okay, again, what's the most meaningful to the student? They're going to do that. The purpose is, are you being involved in any activities, any of these extracurricular activities, or were you kind of a student, you were playing video games 24/7, right? You don't want to be in the second category. That's why there's so many different opportunities that you can involve with. And we know that with the COVID-19, a lot of activities are not available right now, but remember, colleges will know that too, right? We are in the same shoes all together. So colleges will understand it. If this time period you're not being involved in so many activities that requires your going out and then being involved with so many people which are not even available, but colleges know that it's not available for you as well. So students could think about it in the long run, or we're gonna find something that they could do from home. Yeah. Okay. Now the clubs and the sports, these are the things that the students do usually in the school, right? There's a bunch of clubs. There's athletics, a lot of things going on after school. All right. So sometimes some of the clubs are they have just a few members, that they have so many openings that if you apply, you can get involved with some of these clubs. And athletics, there's so much going on in the school. Now, why do we talk about them together? You can think about clubs and sports that's being offered in the school. We will also talk about the things that are not being offered in the schools, but with the clubs and sports, they are usually available for you. It's free. We don't charge, right? Schools don't charge. Utica, Syracuse, we are not charging for clubs. They're not charging for the sports. They are free. They are right after school. Instead of taking the bus, right after school, they're going to stay for an extra hour or two. And then, of course, the transportation is going to be a problem, but at least you don't have to drop and pick up the kids, right? That's something. There's so many of them available in the school, all right? And then that is something that the students could do multiple years. Yep. Anything, Sukumar? Let me see what's right, but yes.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, like joining more than like one club or sports is good, but focusing on one club and then carrying it over the years is also better, because it's showing you are consistent on something and you are trying to build your skills over the years. That's why kind of you may need to again, it's coming back to the planning section. We may need to plan good and then act after that.
Yep, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Let's continue. If you have an interest in something, you're interested in a club, but it doesn't exist, right? Then it's a great opportunity for you. All you need to do is find a couple friends that are also interested in that and find an advisor. So you're showing the leadership skills, and now you're involving in some of these clubs. Eventually, you are opening a new club in the school. That's also very valuable for the college's perspective. Let's move on. Now, community service and the volunteer activities. These are the activities that sometimes you could do certain things in the school, and also you can continue doing them out of school as well. So why? Because there's some community service and volunteer activities happening or opportunities happening in the school, but usually there are not a lot. So usually the students are required to go out, find a foundation, anything you could think of. It could be church, it could be a Salvation Army, it could be a soup kitchen. You could think about anything and everything. And then anything that the student is giving back to community, it is valuable for the college for a couple of reasons, though. Reason number one, giving back to the community, right? Like why is it important for the college? Because you are showing that you are not a selfish person. You're a person that are thinking about the other people out there, that are also valuing his own society, who's giving back to the community, right? These are showing your character. And then who's going to benefit from it? The college will benefit from it. If you're such a student right now, then you go to college, it's going to be the same. So you're going to do some community service for the college as well. So colleges like the students who are doing community service. One thing is that, I really value the fact that students understand the reasoning behind all these activities. And sometimes they don't know, why do we have to do community service, right? The community, we have a good saying, right? It takes a whole village to raise a child. Now, students don't really understand what it means. With the modern world, it has less meaning for most of the students, because they say, okay, I'm going to school, coming back to home, right? I'm not even communicating with so many people out there. But even with this simple example I'm going to give you right now, like school is being run by the tax money, right? Just the knowledge of this, student will understand, okay, the school is funded by the tax money, means everyone in the states is contributing for my education. Okay, now it makes more sense. Now I have to give back to the community. That's one simple reason to make a community service. Another one is that to improve the skills, increase your skills, showing that you're not a selfish person. So you can add 10 more examples to this. These are just simple couple of examples. But if the student understand why are they doing certain activities, they'll be making these activities from their heart, from themselves, instead of, oh, I'm doing it because my parents or my teachers are wanting me to do that. No, it's got to be coming from the student. Okay, right?
Just one addition for the
Please.
Utica. We do require 50 hours of community service in order to graduate from Utica site. Each year, 10 hours for 9th grade, 10 hours for 10th grade, and 10 hours for 11th grade, and the 20 hours for the seniors. That's already we are kind of forcing them to be involved, get involved in the community and give back to community. But I have seen students who are done 100 hours in 1 year. So this is also possible, and nobody is, preventing you to do that.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. It's a part of government class. We want seniors to do that as well. And then a part of our mission, our school's mission, is to make sure that our students are productive citizens. We want them to be raised as productive and good and excellent citizens and good students. So it's a part of our mission. So that's important for our school as well. Yep. Let's move on. Consistency is important across the board, as Mr. Kovar mentioned about consistency between different clubs. If the students can do certain things every year, that's even more valuable, right? If some students starts doing community service from 9th and 10th grade, and it's a part of Congressional Award too. If the students are involved in the Congressional Award program, right, they and then they consistently continue doing these activities over the time. This is much more valuable for the college rather than saying, I did this much just my senior year, right? That's also valuable. I'm not saying that's not valuable, but one thing is more valuable is to say that I have been doing these community service in clubs for so many years. And then if they are doing it consistently, that's even more important. And again, certificate is not required, but if they can take it, it's good to remember, because you don't submit anything to the colleges. You don't show your certificates to the colleges. It's just for you. It's for you to remember so that you can record and you can report.
Absolutely.
Right? Sir, yes.
Absolutely. So another way, well, we already keep recording everything under the Congressional Award program. But if they can also kind of keep another copy at home, it's going to be much more easier for them to report it when the time comes. Because sometimes, we also forgot, or the people can change, and then, the records can get lost. But the best way to keep them in the secure is you, actually.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So some ideas of the service. Your community center is the best way to go, and people feel more comfortable actually, doing some community service over there. Our school. Let me give you an example from Utica site. Sometimes we do have some activities at the schools, and the teachers are signing off your community service hours. We have some events, that we need to prepare during the school year. Like if you can kind of help them out, they might give you community service hours. School service-based clubs in schools. We do have. We were doing it, but last year we couldn't do it because of the place issue. The blood donation to the community, they came, they if you kind of help them out, they also give some scholarships for that, and then they gave community service hours if you help them out for the registration. You're not taking the blood, but you're just helping them to get people registered and then find more donors for them, so they will give you service hours. National Honor Society, they have their own programs, and they also give out the community service hours. Soup kitchens, Salvation Army, and the thrifty shoppers as well. As you can name it, you can. And if there is something you are interested in and not listed over here, you can be the leader, as we said before, and you can create your own club, and you can go for the community service hours. Everything is possible. You just need to start from somewhere and then keep the good work going.
Yep, thank you very much. Now, this part is a little bit different. Now, we talked about academics last week, and we have been talking about extracurriculars. some of the academic activities are also considered to be extracurricular. So that's why we are talking about these activities under this week, under extracurricular week. The reason is that this is out of school. So when we talk about academics too much, we usually tend to talk about GPA and SATs and rigor. These are also academics, but because it's being done in after school time, is the college want to see under the extracurriculars. That's why we're going to talk about them here. There are certain things that you can do, right? Some of the most common ones are, these are still extracurricular activities, science fairs or the science Olympiads. There's a bunch of competition comes with the science fair within the school, or science Olympiads between different schools in the city, right? There's robotics competitions, and then international Olympiads like Genius Olympiad has been very famous. And as we go, they've been sending so many students, getting so many medals and certificates. One thing about Genius is great because we've been always connected to them, and it's still an international Olympiad. It is not like a statewide, or it's not like a SAS Utica type of a competition. It's international. So many people comes from different countries. So if the students are really doing the Genius, that's a great opportunity, right?
And I just want to add one thing. One of my students actually got extra scholarship just because she joined the Genius Olympiad and then just joined, she wasn't placed, first, second, or third, but because she joined over there and she did a good research for Genius Olympiad and then created a project, just because of that, she got an extra, scholarship from the college. Yeah.
And then there's always opportunities, international, national Olympiads our students have attended in the past. Genius is not the only one. There's a bunch of others. Just, look for the opportunities that comes with that. Okay, and then if they get, as you said, even joining them is very valuable. Sometimes they also get some, extra recognitions. That's even better, right? But we are not pushing them. Why didn't you get the first, second, third place? No, even joining that is very valuable, as you mentioned, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on. Now, we talked about it last week too, but because it's very important, I want to mention about it. Like when Mr. Cohen and us, we went together to Harvard's program. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? One of the things that they kept coming up or keep reminding was that the students should have love of learning. It's got to be coming from them, not the parents, not the educators, not the counselor, not the college guidance. But it is important that the students have the love of learning. That's why we really want to train them in how to find the knowledge. We want them to be intellectually curious. Okay, we want them to try to find different opportunities to extend their knowledge, make research. So that's why academics portion that is considered to be extracurricular is also very important. Like now we talk about the science Olympiads, robotics, we talk about the Genius International Olympiads. These are all great opportunities, but it's important that the students wants to do them, right? They say, what else can I do? If you get to that point, all the doors are going to be open for them because the colleges wants to see that. The colleges don't want to see a student who has perfect GPA, perfect SAT. They want to see the students have love of learning, something that they want to, can I do anything else? What is more? What else can I do? Type of students are much more valuable for these colleges, rather than a perfect GPA student or perfect SAT student. So even though you may be thinking, oh, my child or myself as a student, you don't have a GPA, perfect GPA or SAT, right? But you can think about it. You can close the gap, but by showing that how much you have this love of learning and intellectual curiosity, this is an important part. That's why all these examples that we've been given under academics is important. And I'm going to give you a couple other examples, right? Summer is coming up. There's research programs. There is, research program. We had been working with SUNY Oswego, right? That may not be happening this year because we were always sending students to Oswego. But there's colleges, other universities and colleges have number of summer classes They call it pre-college. They call it bridge to the colleges. And then most of these programs are going to be online this year. I've forwarded a couple of these emails that came to me to the students, especially if the students are sophomores or juniors. They could definitely take college level courses. And then there's leadership programs. Like, there is so many opportunities out there. If you cannot find it, students could always they could reach us and say, what can I do this summer? I want to take a summer class, a research program, right? If they cannot find it, we'll help them. Some of them, comes with a fee. They charge money, but there's always scholarship opportunities available. You can always apply to the scholarship. The worst case, if you cannot find anything financially affordable, you can work with the local community college that comes with the cheapest option in terms of money, right?
And our programs are still continuing over the summer, the college connection programs with OCC and MECC, and they also going online. Especially nowadays, for the first half of the summer is going to be online for MECC, and maybe down the road the second half is going to be online also. So we don't know that part yet, but there are also some other programs with the Ivy League colleges like EDX. They do offer some online courses. Even they are free. You can order it, and if you would like to get a certificate out of it, you can pay just $40, $50, and then you can get the certificate out of those also, and they are going to be great for your resume. So with this COVID-19, there is a lot of online opportunities right now, and most of them almost free or with a little fee for you available.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, sir. All right, let's talk about, we are still under extracurriculars, but let's talk about the career piece. We're going to focus on what could be done to have some career readiness while you're doing some extracurricular activities. One piece is internship. Mr. Kovar was mentioning about it earlier. Mr. Kovar, would you like to take this part, please?
Sure. Well, internships are on-the-job work experience. Sometimes you can get paid. Sometimes, and most of the time, actually, you're going there for free. And as I mentioned before, if you can kind of find an internship, or if you can come us and we can work, search together maybe for a couple of them, because as we said before, we have coupled relationships with the local work sites, and then we may hook you up with one of those. And if you can find that relationship between your profession down the road, we can definitely recommend you. That's the best thing you can do over the summer maybe. And then nowadays, the schools are closed. If there is like a safe working space that you can go and then do the internship, that would be great. As we said, you can do that during the academic year or the summer, and this is the best time to do it right now because the schools are kind of just went to online and everything is online, so you're more free. And if you can kind of get a letter at the end of the internship, the duties that you have accomplished over there, or the departments that you visited or worked, and or a certificate would be a great way to prove that you have done this internship this many hours. It's kind of job experience for you. And then you may also say that, hey, I was thinking about, for example, going nursing, but I went there and then did the internship, and I figured it out that this is not for me. It's a demanding job, and I don't want to do this, and I'm going to look for something else. So instead of like spending 4 years in the college and then after that going into the field and then saying this is much more, earlier going there and then finding out this internship and finding out that no, this is not for me, and I'm going to look for something else, is much more useful for you and beneficial for you. So that's why internships are really important. If you have a chance to do that, please don't skip them.
Yes, it's very valuable. A lot of times it may be hard though, because of the fact that, like, let's say upstate here or the other hospitals, they want to get interns from the college students, so it's not always easy. Or sometimes even different things like law offices, and they say, okay, we need interns, only one of them. So things like that. It's not always easy. We try our best, but it's a great opportunity. If you cannot find an opportunity for an internship, then we have another option, which is a much simpler, much basic option, is job shadowing. Instead of applying for an internship, which is great, which is much better, but let's say you couldn't find any internship opportunities, you can say, okay, instead of making a 1 month of internship, let me do something very small, very simple, like job shadowing. You're spending a 1 day or sometimes 1 week, but usually it's a 1 day only, and then at a workplace, and then you're observing a professional, whatever you want to pursue in the future. It's, I want to be doing this, so let me observe this person, what he's doing, and what his daily life or daily routine looks like. Now you can ask questions during the day. What's the pros and cons of your job, sir or ma'am? What what do you advise me? And then you see yourself, what does it look like there, and now you observe it. Now you just think about yourself, it's good for me, should I continue doing that? This is a wonderful opportunity as well. It's not as intense as the internship, but it's easier to find. It's only 1 day. It doesn't involve so much participation or so much effort. It still works. I mean, we always recommend the you know um, internships, but at the end of the day, job shadowing serves for the same purpose as well.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to take a snapshot of what's going on in that business.
Yeah. And now, one particular we want to talk about the Congressional Award Program. We are not going to go too much into details, but this is a wonderful program. The colleges see so many things at once. Both of our schools, Syracuse and Utica, we are serving, I believe, this program. And then the students are showing that they can do community service, they can do personal development, at the same time, some physical fitness. Expedition exploration is not very intensive, but that's a part of the program as well. So what I see the Congressional Award Program is that it's a wonderful program. And I don't know how many ever years ago, people sit together at DC, some entity under Congress said that, what are we wanting our students, the next generation, be strong at? They sit together, they put so many items and ideas, and they said, okay, most important, we want them to give back to the community, do some volunteer service. We want them to it's very similar to love of learning. We want them to make some self-developments, personal developments, like whatever they want to learn or whatever they want to develop themselves, they could do it. We want our students, the next generation, to be fit, right? And we want our students to go out of their comfort zone, go out of the box, and do some expedition and exploration. They come up with these 4 items, and they are very meaningful. That's what I see, that how can you make the next generation be more productive with so few items only? I mean, you can come up with 20 other items, but which ones were the most valuable? They come up with these 4 items. And then that's why they started the program. If they do certain number of hours in each category, right, the students get certificates or medals. And then all these certificates and medals are very valuable when you're applying for the college. I know a number of our students received the certificates already, or they have enough hours, but because of the COVID-19, they couldn't complete the paperwork. But it's not getting lost. All these hours are students' hours. They are not being expired. So please, let students keep the records of them. And then if they could do certain things at home right now or during the summer, they may not be able to do a lot of volunteer service. Sometimes some of the students do, but most of them, it's hard, right? But it is very easy to do certain things in terms of personal development and physical fitness at home right now. So they can do some of them right now and then do volunteer service whenever we go back to the real life, the old life, right? So they could bring us, that they can bring them some extra congressional award certificates and medals. Anything you want to add, Mr. Kovar?
Well, unfortunately, as you said, we are not able to, complete the programs this year. But as you said, the records are still there, and the activities we have completed still there. So they are not gonna get lost. They're gonna be accumulated to the next level for the next year. Hopefully, when we come back, we're gonna continue where we left off. And these certificates and also the medals are coming from the Congress directly, so it is very important. It's very prestigious, and they are claiming that that's the prestigious awards that the youth can get.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I guess we put to sports again. We kind of mentioned about it earlier in one of the previous slides, but sports is definitely worth it to talk about it individually as well. You know, just because of the fact that it makes the students more, it gives so much discipline to the students, right? It gives physical fitness, discipline, teamwork, leadership. So it's very valuable. Attending some sports and athletics, playing for school divisions, varsities. These are all wonderful things. So one thing to add here is that if they can really prove themselves and then they apply to the colleges that are giving the opportunity to their students to play in the NCAA leagues, that gives potentially extra scholarships for the students. But one thing important that is not every college gives scholarships because of students are playing athletics, right? The student has to be going to a college that and then play for Division 1 sports. Some colleges have Division 1, some Division 2, and some 3. And some colleges have a mix of them. Some sports that some colleges offer in Division 1, some others in Division 2. It's my point is here. It's important if the student wants to get athletic scholarships, right? If they want to be an athlete in the college and play for the school, for that scholarship, they're gonna play for Division 1 school. That is something that most of the students don't realize it until end of their senior year, and then they expect some scholarships. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Plus, if our student wants to play for NCAA, there is a additional application process at the top of what they apply for colleges, right? Common application, doing the essays and letters of recommendation, everything. At the top of everything, this is simple process, but they have to do it. Our juniors, uh, before the end of the year, they have to go. They can search for it. They can Google it. NCAA student high school student application. They Google it. It takes them to the website. They have to create an account, and then they fill out the forms over there, and then they reach me and Mr. Kovar at Utica. So we upload their transcripts, and then that's how the process starts. And then next year, when they communicate with different coaches from different colleges needs to make sure that the student has NCAA application already being submitted. Okay, so if you have any specific questions about NCAA, I don't want to take too much time about NCAA here, but just want to inform you that there's this individual application process for NCAA. It's not so complicated, but
Mr.
it's a must.
Mr. Oz,
Yes.
when do a student have to apply for that?
It's a great time for juniors right now.
So say my son should be applying for it this summer.
Even before summer that they can apply. It's just, think about it, it's opening a file. They are not really completing or submitting an application to the colleges or any coach, right?
So they would do that with their transcript.
They do it, and then we upload the transcripts.
Okay.
So students
and their coach has to do it with them?
No, coach will come to the stage in a later stage. I mean, they can always get support from the coach, but the first step is students filling up the application. Then they inform us. We upload the transcript. If the student is eligible for free reduced lunch, we can give a fee waiver. There's a fee related to the application. I'm not sure of the price, but
I
they can work it out. Yes, if
I
they're
don't
eligible.
want to take up too much of your time, so I'll just contact you outside of your presentation.
Okay, but it was a great question. Thank you very much. Yep.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming too. Mr. Kovar, anything you want to add here? Let me see. Yeah, we have one more slide after this.
Yeah, there is one more slide, and it's gonna kind of summarize everything, so we can go into there. As we said before you start doing any activities, I think you should look for the big picture and then plan everything. You should look for what you like to do and what you wanna be in the future, and everything should be in a harmony, and everything should be, come together and then put a puzzle together as a big picture, so we can see what's going on and you can have a whole complete college application.
Okay, before getting into the questions and answer sections, I'm going to stop the recording here. Then just trying to find it.